You know, propagating food-bearing plants is a hobby of mine because I like food, therefore I like food-bearing plants, and so many of them are so easy. I'm overlooking a variety of bush cherries, lemon balm, goji berries, horseradish, thornless blackberries over here. And recently, when I was selling fig cuttings online, I would only sell sticks, sections of the dormant plant. Oops, careful, bud. That had about 3 nodes on them. If they had less than 3 nodes, I don't feel like killing it, so I'd shove it into soil, and hence all sorts of new figs. These ones happen to be brown turkey figs, and I already have more than enough for what I'm doing of them, but hopefully I'll be able to share them with some people later or something like that. Since we're gonna have a couple thunderstorms coming up, it's gonna be a little more overcast like it is now. I'm moving some of these outside because they're gonna do better out here than they're gonna do inside the house. So elderberry, brown turkey fig, elderberry. And a lot of these have 10 to 15, 10-ish maybe, sticks shoved in each one. So even if they don't all take, it's still better than just killing them all, having none of them take, and give them the opportunity. A lot of them look really good. And some of the cuttings of figs we had the other year, they were fruiting and putting forth figs while they're still in the pot. That was awesome. Happened to pull a couple of these out already, but up over here, this is a wild plum tree. It's about to flower and then fruit. And I planted up here in my garden, even though I don't want a big tree, I'm gonna keep it pruned back, but these guys send suckers out. And here's one, for example, wild plum tree. Here's the roots. It came from there. Had a long runner, eventually grows a new one. Same thing here, this one's still connected. Let me cut that loose. So here we have a big old root system of wild plum. So I started doing some of my pruning for the year, and I have an amount I still need to do. I like taking dormant cuttings of some of the fig trees, the apricots, the cherries, or sorry, yeah, some of the different fruit trees, not fig trees. Fruit trees, plums, pears, apples, apricots, cherries, whatever it may be, and then I can graft them into stuff like this. These will be potted up here, and I'm gonna get them established, make sure they're doing good, and then once they kind of spring to life in their new home, when I pot them up, I will cut some back, and then I'll graft into them. When I graft into them, I'll leave something to kind of still work with the root system, but I'll cut back some other stuff and graft into it, and then hopefully that'll take as well. But here, all over the place, here's one, oh, here's another one. You know, by planting this in the middle of my garden, it forces me to propagate because I don't want a whole forest here. There you go, another one. Another plum tree. There you go. I knew you were in there. So, you know, that's 5 different trees right now. And a lot of things I do gardening are going to be atypical. They're going to be stuff you probably don't see a lot of people do. It's just what works for me and the way that I like to do it. So I'm going to get some more suckers here, and then I'll start potting these up. So these particular suckers, because they shoot so far out from the actual tree, they'll go all over the place. A lot of times the suckers just come right from the root ball. So these are a little different than your typical ones. A lot of times what you're going to look for is a good rootstock. Fruit trees you're going to buy often are going to be grafted. So you got your true to kind graft. They took a cutting from the parent tree, because when you plant seeds you don't always get true to kind. Took a cutting from the parent tree, say it's a gala apple, and they grafted onto a good apple rootstock. That rootstock is going to be really good at doing whatever it needs to do in your area, disease resistant, drought tolerant, you know, a good branching out root system to keep that tree alive, and then that gala apple that's grafted onto there is going to give you the kind you're looking for. So the wild plums around here are a great variety for me because they grow around here and they thrive around here. And the one tree will send out little runners everywhere. There's entire kind of, I don't want to say forests, but whole little patches of the forest that's all kind of one organism because it's all just one tree that just kind of runs out everywhere. Look at that. So wherever this goes, I'm going to break those off. But look here. I'm going to trim that off over there. Did I bring my scissors? Yeah. But this is one example that root system keeps coming out. Shoots up one over here, shoots up two over here. Gives me all sorts of new plants. I'm going to kind of cut them apart in the way that makes best sense. And since they're just going to be waking up, you know, they're getting some new growth on them, but they're not a big tree that's established in the middle of the year where it's got all its leaves, maybe it's flowering, maybe it's setting some fruit, it's got a lot more to deal with. Here it's still kind of in the dormant stage, so that's the best time to propagate, to clone. If you're taking grafts, you know, your dormant cuttings. I save mine in the fridge, and then once these start waking up, I'll graft into them. And because of the way I garden here with this wood mulch, it's not that hard to pull these out. These are actually just running on top of the rock and clay. That's the original soil down underneath here. And they're just running underneath this wood mulch. So I'm able to lift them pretty easily. Oh, that's a nice little one. Look at how nice and little that is, you know. I put them in a pot now, let it grow a bit bigger, graft into it, have a whole new one. I like that type of stuff. I do plan on even in my pastures behind me, where you can see my sheep grazing behind these cacti. There's a couple red mulberry trees out there, but I'm gonna continue to plant different trees in different areas. A lot of them are gonna be fruit trees. I'm probably just gonna run a triangle of fence around each one so they don't nibble down the tree itself or tear the bark off. Let that tree grow up where it needs to be over the top of them, and then have an upper canopy that we can still pick the fruit from. It'll provide shade for them, and then they'll be adding fertilizer in the form of their manure and urine underneath those trees, especially if they're providing them shade in the summer. You know, they're gonna like to be under that tree. They're gonna be fertilizing it, helping have better fruit for us, good shade for them, good fertilizer for the plant. It's gonna just kind of work really well together. Is the plan, is the goal, and as always, I'm optimistic. One thing that happened with this particular tree too is when it was young, it just started tipping. I didn't correct it good enough. I had it propped up for a while. Now it's across my path, it's messing things up. I really don't want it here, here anyway. So I think I'm gonna prune it back. It'll just have a really weird stem, and then probably keep this guy straight up there. But all this other stuff I'm gonna remove. If this was a better variety, I would have wanted to take some scion cuttings before all these little flower bumps would have started, but it's just the wild one around here, so we got plenty of them. So I'm gonna cut it back right now and then leave it for the rest of the year, and probably in the future, yeah, maybe this spring, I'll see. At some point I plan on grafting into it. I just haven't done that yet. I would really prefer to get this guy pretty much standing straight up. So I think I'm gonna make a prop for him. And I would have kept it differently if I'd have thought that originally, but I might take this guy off, keep this for now, and move forward. Let me make something to hold this up, and we'll go from there. should work. We'll find out. So I'm gonna see if I can't cut these up in a way that makes sense to get them to grow inside a pot for me. Goal is then just to pop these up in some appropriate sized pots and get them watered, get them growing in their new location. A lot of times if they got the big holes here and I got leaves, I'll just kind of block some of those big holes with the leaves and then add my soil. Just seems like less soil disappears from me that way. Like I said, hopefully if they get a good growing on them, I'll be able to graft into them. If not this year, maybe next. This will keep them from suckering here, and then if I plant them out in my field, once I graft them over to a different variety, if I have them fenced in, whatever comes out of there, the animals will have the opportunity to nibble down. So not really too concerned about it. Here, I forced myself to propagate by putting it in the middle of my garden. Once I get them out in the pastures and stuff, I won't be as concerned. But that's about it for this one, guys. Hopefully you learned a thing or two. It's just one of the things I do to continuing to propagate food-bearing plants. Pop out.